get a welcome you'll never forget. What I want, so I'll take you on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning. These ladies know that I'm sinning, and this is just the beginning. I'm closing in and not getting. There ain't no point in resisting. Living life like a dream, living right, that's the thing. Every night got a team, I've been tied to the scene. Out on stage, here on screen. Okay, it's a dream, and I pray as a team. One day it'll be me. If I want it, then I get it. Hey, Dad, don't regret it. Push myself to the limit. If I play it, then I win it. I'm just saying, I'm just living for today.
Welcome back to Geek Squad. I don't know why the last few weeks I have been doing it as if this is a radio show. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. We are currently on 227 subscribers. The last few weeks haven't been too well, so I thought we'd return to the roots of Percy Jackson. Now, today's video idea actually came about whilst randomly scrolling through the Camp Half-Blood subreddit. And this post was posted by Ute Slayer, UTE Slayer, and it is saying Percy isn't as close with Jason, Nico, or Leo as some people make it out to believe. And these are the points he said, or she. I'm going to say he, but it's he or she. I'm not sure of the gender. I know it is a popular headcanon. Percy is bros with Jason and really close with Nico and Leo. But whenever I read heroes, the heroes of Olympus, I don't get that vibe at all. For Jason, it seemed like he barely got along, and there was no bromance that I could see, despite Percy calling him bro once. I saw a post somewhere that described Percy and Jason's canon relationship as being two people who shared a high school friend group, never connected again after high school, while their fanon friendship is ride or die. Also, I can't stand when people portray them as them being in this homoerotic relationship with each other, where they kiss and grope each other and while still having girlfriends. If you think that Jersey, which is Percy and Jason ship name, that's fine, but having them do it behind their girlfriend's back isn't cool. And at that point, I agree with, don't do that. Also, if you ship them together, that's a little weird, but that's not what we're here for. As for Leo, in canon, they hardly get along. I don't see them becoming close anytime soon. People say that without Calypso, they would be friends, but I think Percy would get annoyed at Leo and his humour. Nico, I think Percy sees him as a good acquaintance, and he would fight for him, but they aren't close, and those not my type of jokes are really annoying. So what are your thoughts? And there are lots of different answers that I'm not going to get into, but I briefly answered this. Now, I want you guys to comment section below whether you agree with any of that, what you disagree, what you agree with, and we're going to break it down. Since we just mentioned Nico, I'm going to start off with Nico. In my comment, I said I think Nico and Percy aren't close like friends, but after what happened to them after their meeting, which I believe was in the third Percy Jackson book, but it might have been the second, but I'm pretty sure it's the third. And after Bianca's death, I think Percy sees Nico more like family in a sense. Now, to expand upon that, because that's all I put for Nico, I think Percy's always felt a little responsible and a little, there's always been a weird thing with him and Nico. Obviously we find out later Nico fancies him, and I think that's the connection there. Even if he doesn't fancy him, he was pretty much one of his first crushes, which, there's always that special connection. With Percy, I think he kind of took pity on Nico, but I think after Bianca's death, I think Percy felt a little, responsible. But even so, if you read the books, in the first book, he always tries to be friendly and nice with Nico, and I think he was always going to be friends with Nico. But after everything with Bianca and Nico going a bit dark and emo, very emo, but very dark for a while, they couldn't grow that friendship. But I think Percy sees Nico like a little brother. And I think that's why their relationship, and I think that's why their relationship, they may not be the closest, like with family, you may not always be the closest or like most friendly with them, but like but there's that other bond, and I think that exists between the two of them. And of course, on Nico's behalf, it was those romantic feelings involved that he kept for so long until eventually he admitted it and moved on, and he doesn't have those feelings anymore. But I think there's a special place, and I think that they're more like siblings. You know, they may squabble, they may not always see eye to eye, and they may be completely different people. There's that undeniable like connection, like not romantic connection or anything like that, but just a connection. And I think they are more like family. And in fact, in my headcanon, Percy's family sees Nico as family. Nico and Annabeth are one of the families, because I think that Nico pops by every now and then to visit Percy and etc. And I think he's seen as one of the family. But that's just my headcanon. But I think Nico and Percy are more like siblings. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. In this photo right here, next to Nico, is Leo, who we're going to talk about next. Who I only said a little to say, and I said, in terms of Leo, they aren't close as people say or think. But I think that because they didn't get much time together when you think of it. Now, that wasn't said the most clear. So I'm going to clear that up now. What I mean by that is, when you read the books, Percy and Leo don't actually spend a lot of time together. And because when you think about it, when they first meet, there's a lot going on, and then Leo kind of is possessed and attacks the Romans, and there's all that problems. But throughout the whole thing, Percy's going to be spending all of the time he can catching up with Annabeth and spending time with Annabeth. And you can't say otherwise, because that's what he would be doing. But Leo's also repairing the ship and looking after the ship and doing all this and that. And they're constantly having to stop, split up, fight different things. So between recovering, repairing the ship, making modifications, or their little like mini solo group quests that they go on, they won't actually spend a lot of time together. Like when you think about it, the time that they probably all the time they would have spent together would have been at dinner and at meetings and occasionally on round about the place, but they wouldn't really talk, or if they were on duty together. Other than that, they wouldn't spend much time, so they wouldn't have much time. But I'm pretty sure it's stated in the book that Leo was scared of Percy's power. You need to remember, at this point, the strongest person most of them have met, or some of them have met, Leo and Piper, for example, is Jason. And he is Jason is overpowered. Jason's more powerful than most other demigods. So he is what you think overpowered is. He is someone you think is the level. So when Percy comes along, when this guy you've heard so much about comes along, and you're thinking he's on their level, but he's even more powerful, and he's constantly just dominating fights with powerful beings, you're going to get a bit scared and a bit intimidated by them. Even if it's not consciously. Plus, when they were introduced with Hazel, Frank, and Percy, literally the other two had more of a relationship with Leo because of Hazel and Leo's grandfather, I think it was, or was it his father, backstory, their history, and then with the Frank and the whole thing there. So I think that's what stopped them. And also, as I said, Leo, I think most of the seven, in fact, all of the seven are a little bit scared of Percy. Jason is, Annabeth is, she loves him to bits. But remember, in Tartarus, she was scared of him. Like, that's, in a moment in Tartarus, she was more scared of him than anything else, which says a lot about Percy. But I think, after the whole thing with Calypso, like Leo, when Leo finally comes back to camp and meets up with them all again, you know, after running off with Calypso, I think they would have actually spent more time together and actually would have become friendly as the fandom thinks. But I think that would have been both of them would have been more mature. At this point, Percy would have been even more powerful and skilled and dominant. But I think because of the peaceful times, they would have kind of been able to chill out. And I think their sense of humour, I think Percy wouldn't get annoyed with Leo's sense of humour. In fact, I think Percy you'd see his more childish and playful side instead of, you know, his powerful, screw the gods kind of vibe. But that's my personal opinion. As I've said before, let me know what you think in the comment section below. But as I said, the reason why they're not as close as people think is because of not spending so much time together, and also Percy being so much more powerful that it's terrifying to most beings. But the reason people like to think of them so close is because their personalities would mean if they spent time together, and in most other circumstances, they would probably be very good friends. And the type of friends you'd want to keep away, that most people would want to keep away from each other, especially the likes of Dionysus and Chiron. Now, these two photos right here are what Fandom think Percy Jackson and Jason Grace relationship is, but it's not really like that. So let me explain what their relationship is like, and why it's like that, and how their relationship, and why it's not as close. Now we're going to start off by saying Jason is the Roman counterpart to Percy Jackson. That's literally why they swapped places. He is the leader. He is the most powerful Roman demigod of his time, and he was able to beat down a Titan with I'm pretty sure it was with his bare hands. He is skilled, he is powerful, and if it wasn't for Percy Jackson, he would be the most powerful demigod of the modern era. But because of that, and how both camps accepted each of them, and because of who they are, like their abilities and their intelligence, their power, they are rivals, especially since Jason is powerful and all this and all that, but he finds out that the person who had a crush on him, who I'm not sure if he was aware about, but the person who had a crush on him and his position as Predator were both taken by Percy. Now, the crush thing, it's a bit of a blow, but obviously it doesn't matter, he liked someone else and he never liked Raina that way, but to know that the person who used to like you so much now likes Percy Jackson, and your position was taken by Percy Jackson, but so easily and so quickly at that. Now, it's because you're not there, but they were saving it for you. But so quickly, they gave it to him because of his power. It sets up a little bit of a rivalry. Plus, obviously, Leo and Piper think Jason's the most powerful. They've seen Camp Half-Blood, they've seen Demigods, and they've seen how powerful Jason is. Annabeth, Hazel, and Frank think Percy's the strongest. Also, Raina and Nico later on, I think that is. And it's said they're meant to be similar powers, so they respect each other because they're similar positions, everything a lot similar about them. But Percy Jackson is more powerful. But because of that bit of rivalry and the conditions they're in and all that, and having to fight each other a few times and the stress, they didn't get much time together. Similar, Piper, Jason, and Leo don't get much time with Percy Jackson to develop great bonds. The bonds are Frank. It's the girls all have bonds. The guys don't. Quite frankly, the guys are the weak point in terms of bonds, because Leo and Jason, they have a bond. Frank and Percy have a bond. But other than that, Frank and Leo were kind of bumping heads quite a few times until a lot later on in the series. And Jason and Percy respected each other but rivaled each other and wanted to one-up each other, which Percy kept winning, by the way, just for anyone who doesn't know. Percy absolutely dock stomped Jason, just saying. But so they don't have this bromance, but so that's what their relationship is like. And so it's not what people seem to think of, this great bromance. But yet again, in more peaceful times, they could have been friends. Now, I don't think they're really good friends. I don't think their personalities get along. I don't think they don't get along, but I think it's more like someone you kind of get along with, but they're not best friend material. You know what I mean? But they fully respect each other. So they've got respect, but I don't think their relationship is there, and I don't think it'll ever be on the strength of what Percy and Leo could be, Percy and Nico is, those type of relationships. But it's not as much as people seem to think in the fandom. Now, that's just my opinion. Please let me know your opinion in the comments section below. Be sure to leave a like and check out my last few videos. In fact, check out any video on the channel you like, as I'm proud of a lot of them. Some of them I don't think they lived up to my expectations, but I'm hoping to improve. So please stick with me a little while longer. I am learning editing to give you better quality videos. And as I've said, if this video gets a certain amount of subscribers, which I believe was, I think I said before, between 250 and 500, I think I said. I'll have to double check on one of the earlier videos. Before a certain time, I will go to an anime con, essentially an anime convention, and I will be dressed as Minato. Or as close to Minato as I can get. My hair's not blonde, I'm not dyeing it blonde, and I don't have a wig. I have a Hokage coat and an Kakashi's mask, but obviously I won't be needing that, and a hidden leaf headband, which I've got right next to me right now, and I'll be trying to get the rest of the stuff. If not, you'll see me wearing Dragon Ball underneath there, and that'll be Dragon Ball Under on there. So, not the best, but I will do like a podcast type thing, well, not a podcast, a vlog while I'm there, so you'll see that, which means you'll get to finally see my face, but that's if those are reached. And if all the videos until then have above 10 views, and one of them, which I stated this on, has 20 views. So I'll go check that. But please anyway, as I said, please let me know in the comment section below what you think of what I've said here, and if you think any of these relationships are different, appear different in the fandom to what they are as well. If any of that made sense. I think I lost my train of thought at the end there. I was distracted by flashing lights on TV. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. This has been Camp Geek Squad. I've been Camp Director Yu King Wan. That's not my name. I don't know why I said that. Till next time. Peace, banana monkeys.